Hello. How y'all doing? So folks, I do have to say, keep up the pressure. All of the uh pressure that is being applied by activists it's working. It's working, okay? I mean, this is Joe Biden today at an event.
My dad ran an auto. He didn't own it. He ran an automobile agency for a long time. No, 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 let it go. Let it, no, 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 let it, it's okay. Anyway, look,
I'm not gonna lie, every time someone interrupts him to demand a ceasefire, I think we tangibly move closer to that goal. Okay? I genuinely believe that. Every time we make things a little bit more inconvenient for this guy, we get a little bit closer. This is deeply sad, right? Like, the audience reaction in particular, like, hurts. It hurts me to my core, you know? If Biden was a little bit quicker, he might have been able to, like, spin that around, but you know that moment's gonna, like, stick around in his head.
I guess what I'm trying to say to you is, I grew up in neighborhoods where I know what it likes when the plant closes down.
Yeah. But, yeah, today, Gaza's a mess, obviously. It's a mess every day at the moment. But Netanyahu has agreed to daily 4-hour pauses in the bombardment to allow civilians a chance to flee the city. And the first round of that happened today, so we can see this happening here with children being escorted out of the city. And, you know, they're just wearing their little backpacks. They all have to leave the city with their hands up. And I believe they even have to hold white flags, which in this case is like tissue paper. But here's just a little snippet. I mean, like, guys, this is heartbreaking. Like, actual, like, babies and the elderly. And again, they're all forced to walk because yeah, you notice that this little girl's holding up a little white flag. This little girl's holding up a white flag. Again, this is what, in effect, a this is what ethnic cleansing looks like, chat. This is what it looks like. And in case any of you are like, well, you know, this isn't what the Nakba looked like, for example. It doesn't look that bad. I want you guys to tell me maybe this is cheating a little bit, because you might be able to tell. When was this picture taken? What is this a picture of? Is this a picture from the 1948 Nakba, or a picture from today? Or is this a picture from the 1948 Nakba, or a picture from today? Or is this one? Or this one? Again, like, all of these pictures are of ethnic cleansing. All of them. They're all from today. 2 of them were from 1948, actually. 2 of them were from the 1948 expulsion of Palestinians. And 2 of them were from today. It's it's awful. And on top of that, we have more settler violence escalating in the West Bank, the occupied West Bank. Um, and the IDF appears to be taking action alongside settlers, specifically with a large attack on Jenin, or Jenin, I believe it's pronounced, that resulted in 10 Palestinians being killed, with dozens more injured, and the IDF bombed a house and distributed snipers across the city. And you can see some of the chaos here. Again, snipers targeting care workers. Yeah. It's a mess. But like we need to be clear, the ethnic cleansing is not only occurring in the Gaza Strip. It is occurring on the West Bank in a systematic way. How do you see this conflict ending? Honestly, Roy Bloom, unless major coordinated action is taken, largely on the part of the United States, or spearheaded at least by the United States, Israel is going to attempt to complete the ethnic cleansing of Gaza and the West Bank. Definitely Gaza. Basically, they are explicitly expelling people from the Gaza Strip, likely in an attempt to annex the Strip following their exodus. Yeah, and I mean, honestly, whether Palestinians leave the Gaza Strip or just killed en masse, I don't think the people who hold power in Israel care that much. And what would be the best solution? I've heard proponents of like a one-state solution. I think that's I think an ideal solution would be a one-state solution where everyone is enfranchised and everyone has equal rights guaranteed. However, I don't think that is at all possible at the moment. Instead, I'm a proponent of a two-state solution, with Gaza and the West Bank being like either possibly like a three-state solution with Gaza and the West Bank recognized independently, but the two-state solution is, or some derivation of that, would probably be the only workable solution at the moment. A two-state solution doesn't work when one side has all the weaponry and will just do a formal invasion. Well, the other aspect is a two-state solution would only work with, like, you know, security guarantees from the United States towards the Palestinians. I don't know that any of this, like, again, I don't know that any of this is currently possible. I think currently the most likely outcome of this conflict is genocide. So take that for what you will. Where can they leave to? No Arab countries have opened the borders to them so far. Egypt has opened their borders in a very limited capacity for Palestinians who are injured. But the only real option is for Palestinians to leave into Egypt, and that's not happening. Egypt is not going to allow that, and even if they did, it would probably result in mass casualties for Palestinians. There's no infrastructure there to support 2 million people suddenly appearing on the Egyptian side of the border, you know? It's literally the middle of the desert. So, yeah. Again, Israel's current plan is genocide, and if, you know, they can instead just push Palestinians out of the country, they'll do that. But yeah, currently their approach is genocidal. But if they're a country, then every invasion/operation would be considered a war declaration by Israel. Yeah. But also it would allow them to make things like defensive treaties. But again, also a two-state solution is just currently not possible without the support of the United States and the UN. And I believe if the United States actually put weight behind a two-state solution, we could get it done. What do you see happening to the 2 million Arab Israelis who are currently living as Israeli citizens? I mean, frankly, they're already oppressed. I would see largely them being kept around as useful propaganda tools, but in a kind of Jim Crow, lesser right capacity. And as kind of like a token minority to show, see, we didn't kill all of the Palestinians. We had a walkout for Palestine at my university today. Awesome. Good. Keep it up. I mean, like, currently you can see what happens to the millions of Palestinian people who live in the occupied West Bank. They're not ruled by Hamas. And yet settlers and the IDF attack them with impunity for little to no reason. Here is an American doctor, I believe on what show? I don't know what show this is on.
We are talking about 4,000 children who are dead. And if I may be very clear, those are the most...
Oh, this is from the Doctors Without Borders Twitter account, or TikTok account.
...unpleasant deaths that these children could have died. They're being crushed in their homes. They're losing their limbs. They're undergoing surgery without anesthetics. What we are witnessing is horrifying, no matter the definition, and it should shock the conscience of all of us. You know, we are doctors in our nature, and what you are asking us to do with a humanitarian pause is to bring in the equipment necessary to stitch people up and repair them, and then to start the bombing again, and for us to then fix them. That is not enough. We need a ceasefire. I mean, what we are seeing right now is dozens and dozens of medical facilities in Gaza, which are absolutely razed to the ground. There is no capacity in Gaza at this point to care for the wounded who are there already. There are 3,500 beds in Gaza. Most of them are not available to patients at this point, and there are 10,000 plus wounded. Our surgeons are literally doing surgery on people on the ground, outside, in tents, in open air. There is no capacity at this point for a pause. We have to stop and allow the system to be able to rebuild, to be able to provide care.
Yeah. Frankly, the 4-hour pauses every day are not going to be enough. I don't know her, but she seems to have a good heart. Well, she does work for Doctors Without Borders, which is possibly one of the most selfless organizations on the planet. Literally the kind of people who will go into war zones of their own accord in order to help people who are dying. But they do have terror groups in the West Bank as well, and they carry out terror attacks from there, not just Hamas. I mean, I gotta be honest with you. That at no point does that justify the mass expulsion of people that we are seeing in the West Bank. We did a story a couple days ago about an entire village, which was, I think, one of like 14 that had been completely wiped off the map, meaning that Israeli settlers and IDF troops had shown up and harassed them and killed some of them, and threatened to murder every man, woman, and child in the village. And in response to that, they had to leave a place that they and their families had lived for hundreds of years. these are not terrorists. These are elderly people. These are people with children. These are farmers. You know, a lot of them olive farmers. You know, like, the argument that, like, well, you know, some of them may have been no good people who occasionally did violence. Well, you know, in America, we have a lot of no good people here who occasionally do violence. We have neo-Nazi militias in America. Does that mean we go and, like, raise the ground of, like, the small towns that these militias operate out of? No. We don't go and salt the earth of those towns in the United States. We don't firebomb them. We don't send U.S. troops to harass and intimidate them into leaving. I just don't agree that saying Hamas isn't there, so they're all good there. Is that what I fucking said? No, it's not. What I said was Hamas doesn't rule in the West Bank. Hamas is in charge of Gaza, the Gaza Strip, by default. Hamas does not make policy in the occupied West Bank. Does Hamas sometimes operate in the West Bank? Yes. But guess what? They aren't the policymakers of the West Bank. That's the Palestinian Authority. The Palestinian Authority operates in the West Bank. Do you understand the distinction I'm making here? Do you understand? Are you capable of understanding those sentences that I just said? But a lot of people make the point, don't argue against a lot of people. Argue against me. Argue against the things I say. You know, some people think the earth is flat. Are you going to argue about that here? No, because I'm not making that point. You understand it clearly? Good. Because I've had to argue against a lot of people over the last several weeks, and it's very frustrating. I don't know what to tell you. Like, when I just finished playing a clip of Israeli settlers and the IDF forces in the occupied West Bank with snipers shooting at ambulances. Like, I don't know what to tell you here. So, you just saw snipers shooting at an ambulance. Is the ambulance Hamas? No. It's just an ambulance. 10 people have been killed here in the last day, with dozens more injured. This isn't in Gaza. Just give you guys an idea. All right? All right? Here, I'm gonna show this to you guys. All right? This is Gaza right here. You can see it because it says Gaza, right? And then we go all the way over here and up. Jenin, it's way the fuck up here. We're not talking about this territory that is broadly controlled by Hamas. We're talking about this place that is not overseen by Hamas. Because you're the first member of the LGBTQ community I got the chance to talk to about the conflict, does their views and approaches towards the LGBTQ community change/affect the way you support them? No. Just because people don't, like, you know, like 70%, we'll say 60% of people in a given area don't support LGBTQ people, I don't suddenly think it's okay to firebomb them out of existence. Right? I don't think it is okay to just mass murder people who disagree with